Sam. The country needs Captain America.
Tonight is the first step towards lasting peace across this brave new world.
Stand by for proof of death.
Go, go, go!
Hey guys, welcome to Being Extra. As always, it's your host Jorge and
Kevin.
we just got out of seeing Captain America: Brave New World. That's the title, correct?
Yeah, it's New World Order. No, I'm kidding. No, it's Brave New World. They changed it. So yeah, it's Brave New World.
Are you sure it's not Captain America: Hell Hydra?
No, it's
A lot of red in this. A lot of red. Just saying.
yeah. No, it's I guess I'll go ahead and start.
Yeah, go
Just
for
a
it.
quick word.
Oh, and we are here in AMC where we just watched it.
Yeah, we just
saw it in
not sponsored. Just a quick
not a sponsor. We saw it in Dolby.
Dolby. Yeah,
Dolby.
Dolby. I will say this. I tried going in without my judgment being clouded by just all the behind the scenes drama and stuff that I've seen or heard. Regardless, it wasn't trash.
I agree.
I would recommend it if you're gonna go see. I would say basically a good matinee. It's a good matinee. Don't play weekend price. We got pretty cheap on a discount day at Dolby, so we got good matinee. But outside of that, I'm gonna nitpick later on, especially when we get into spoiler territory. But
Yeah. Oh, and this is a spoiler review, guys. So if you don't want to be spoiled or you haven't seen the movie, this would be the time to go watch the movie, come back, see this video, or listen to the podcast. We're going to be on both platforms.
It's more so humoring us and listening to our opinions about a movie that you probably already saw and see if you picked out the same kind of things that we did.
And if you guys do watch us or are subscribed, then thank you so much. We appreciate you. We're just two movie guys that like to talk about movies. So, thank you for watching us. But I'll give my thoughts. Fun movie. Nothing groundbreaking that we haven't seen from Marvel. Do you have to see all 20 whatever movies to see this? Not really. You have to know who Captain America is. I think see Falcon and the Winter Soldier, right?
Falcon and Winter Soldier and the 2008 Incredible Hulk.
Yes.
That's really the only two that you really have to see. I mean, probably the other Captain movies too, but it's like,
Or you could just watch like a recap about Marvel on YouTube and get caught up because it's a lot to watch.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah,
kinda
so,
hard to maintain that.
Fun movie. I think the action scenes were fun. And I'm going to get into spoiler territory now. The battle at the island, what was the island called?
The Celestial Island, the Indian Ocean battle?
Indian Ocean, Celestial Island battle. That was the funnest and most visually striking scene that stood out to me personally. It was fun. It reminded me a little bit of Top Gun, which me and Kevin reviewed, and we loved that movie.
Specifically the original one, honestly, because that's also in the Indian Ocean.
Yes.
In the original Top Gun.
I enjoyed that. The story doesn't really move Marvel along or Captain America along. It was just a villain who very forgettable. He, it doesn't affect the MCU. Yes, they're starting the Avengers again. That's the only thing that I got of this. I don't know if it's the Young Avengers or if they're trying to get some other people together, like Shuri from Black Panther, and I think it's for the Young Avengers, right? That's what's going on? It feels like it.
Truth be told, I haven't followed much very closely along with phases 4 and 5 because it just got burned with too many mid movies, and then there's just stuff that I kind of more or less tapped out on. Part of the reason why I wanted to watch this one is because I did work second unit very briefly at the tail end of the principal photography in
so you're close to this project, is what I'm hearing.
Yes, I have an insider exclusive. No, I was literally just around on set. So certain set pieces I've kind of saw with my own eyes. So I've known early on that this movie was finally going to address the Celestials from the Eternals, that big giant thing sticking out of the ocean.
Finally, dude. Finally.
Because I was in the effects warehouse just doing my thing whilst the VFX people were doing mocap stuff for the Falcon flying around stuff. So I saw the previs footage and saw the big hand and the head sticking out of the water. So I was thinking about it. When I saw that on the screen on the monitors, I was like, oh shit, they're finally tackling that. And then I was one of the open sound stages that was just empty. I just kind of peeked in and walked around on one of the sets, and then the Rose Garden stuff that was in Trilith. That's the other thing that I saw. But being second unit, if you're new to the movie talk and stuff, second unit is just the unimportant filler shots, stunt stuff that's not really like
Right.
you don't need an actual director or really main cast.
You don't need
for
the
that.
main director for that.
You can get like a stunt guy or like a special
Whole second crew.
whole
You
second
get a
crew
whole
to do
second
that
crew for that.
to do
Yeah,
that. And
I've
that's-
been second unit for like Suicide Squad. Whole second crew.
Oh
Whole,
yeah, that's right. We
yeah.
did that where the guy that
Yeah.
rolled his fucked up sample.
I do want to give out 2 shout outs to Jessica and Irvin, who we actually interviewed on
Yeah.
this channel. They appear on the movie.
I didn't know I didn't know they worked on this.
Yeah.
So that was cool to see them. Those are the only 2 BG that I saw.
Yeah.
And there's some locations that we did recognize. The Oaxaca scene in the beginning, that was definitely in one of those big cemetery from
Yeah.
here in Atlanta. And
It's been in Ozark.
yeah,
other-
Ozark. Yeah, I've been there before. Yeah, so I've
Yeah.
been to that mausoleum and stuff. So it was cool.
And I will say, I do want to say this. Seeing, I know I'm jumping ahead of myself, but seeing the Georgia logo at the end of the movie, this is one of the last 2 movies filmed in Georgia for Marvel.
From over, yeah.
Because we, in an earlier episode, me and Kevin did a rant about how Marvel left for London. And this and the Thunderbolts are going to be the last 2 movies that are going to come out, that Marvel films that were filmed in Georgia. So there's that. And it was like bittersweet. Like you see the Georgia logo pop up, but then you're like, damn, that's right. They're in London now, right?
Yeah, it's sucks too. We talked about it before. There's like 2 or 3 studios that were built up since the pandemic and strikes that are now just sitting empty here in Georgia because they kind of jumped the gun on those things.
Yeah.
It sucks because those facilities actually look pretty promising and cutting edge, but I think they're reformatting Trilith to be like also a live event type
Yeah,
place as
they
well.
are, yeah.
So,
And Trilith, which at the time used to be Pinewood. And from 2 guys that have worked on Marvel since it's been here. So I think you got to be on some of the Avengers movies, right?
I PA'd for a couple of days on Infinity War. Actually, yeah, on Infinity War, and I was on the school bus, on Peter's school bus in Infinity War. I was too far in the back that you don't really get to see me, but I was there.
He comes out a lot of movies. Just
And
look for
then-
the long hair.
And then I was on Falcon Winter Soldier for a couple of things, and then just a bunch of Marvel stuff. Never really full-time crew, but I've dipped my toes and that kind of thing. So it is kind of a bittersweet thing to kind of see go away.
Yeah, it is. I got to work on Infinity War and Endgame. I got to work pretty much on all the Marvel shows except WandaVision, because I like to keep my hair short, so I was in period. But having worked from the biggest box office movies on earth to like seeing it go away, because the infrastructure that Georgia built for Marvel is huge. Like the studios, everything that they built for Marvel, just seeing them film the movies here was amazing. And when they went away, because their 10-year contract was up, it was sad. So when I saw a Georgia logo, I had a little tear in my eye. I was like, oh man, it's bittersweet. And I took a picture of it. I was like, Kevin, I gotta take a picture of this.
Yeah, I'm sure there's other stuff, other smaller stuff they're filming here in Mid-Tulsa King, and that's like probably the best quality
But
show here.
for Marvel,
but,
this
yeah,
and
Marvel,
Thunderbolts, that's it.
Yeah,
man.
Thunderbolts. Yeah, I never got a chance to work on Thunderbolts. I know the people that worked on it, a couple of people that worked on it, but I never had a shot at it. And I think
And the other one, Ironheart, that one too.
but that was shot years ago.
It was shot years ago, so yeah.
Years ago, that one's.
It's finally coming out. I don't know how it's going to tie together, which, circling back to the movie, this movie feels just like it had to be done. Do you feel like
Okay, so
Anthony Mackie had like
it's
in
probably
his
like
contract?
one in his contract that he needed to standalone. Maybe. I'm still disagree about giving the shield to him instead of Bucky because it just logistically it just makes sense for somebody who also has a super serum to be the next in line before it goes to somebody like Sam.
Right.
I do like that this movie did make an attempt to break away from the other Marvel stuff and to go for more of a lower stakes, self-contained, no big multiverse, multi-universal, like cosmic quantum level threat with like Kang and all that. No, just straight up, just going back to the Winter. I mean, they didn't hit. That doesn't hit the heights and the quality that Winter Soldier did, but it was back to that.
Okay, well, I'll give it a point for that then. Yeah,
Yeah,
because it wasn't world-ending like oh, the world's gonna end. It was like, okay, you have a bad guy who
Big-
has
yeah,
been
big-
wronged by the president or Thaddeus Ross, and
Yeah, it's just a big spy thriller, just a big conspiracy thing,
Correct.
mystery thing that's kind of unravels and then comes to a head with a big final act type thing.
How did you feel about the cast change? About I know, R.I.P.
William Hurt.
William Hurt, R.I.P. But how do you feel about his performance? How do you feel?
Who William Hurt's original performances
No,
or
no, no.
Harrison Ford?
How do you feel about Harrison Ford's original this performance?
Eh,
Taking on.
I mean, it's Harrison Ford, so you're pretty much seeing just Harrison Ford being Harrison Ford on screen. However, he does deliver some pretty heartfelt stuff, and I guess they made a right choice of going with Harrison Ford to add depth to the character of Thunderbolt Ross, because Thunderbolt Ross has always just been a very hardline, stern, stoic, by the book guy. You don't really see a whole lot of depth with him until like maybe in bits in Incredible Hulk, but even still, he's kind of a hard ass. This one, you show him really kind of be more vulnerable.
Correct.
And I'm not sure how much of that was angled during reshoots and stuff, or how much was originally in the movie, but I kind of appreciate. I can give it points for attempting to want to go through that, to give more
Right.
to the character than besides just being a shouty type
Yeah, just the general.
guy. Like, get the
yeah.
Avengers, they're not doing what I'm telling them.
Yeah,
I want
yeah.
the press, like it, he's extending an olive branch throughout the movie and really is trying hard to kind of turn over the
Correct.
leaf. And I think, again, sort of trying to analyze it on its own, independent of what I may have heard of from all the coverage and of all the drama behind the scenes stuff. I can appreciate it trying to go with more of a human thing rather than sticking with just nonstop Marvel humor. I do understand that the Marvel humor is there, but it's not punctuating every moment like
Yeah.
I've seen some of the later Marvel movies have. So I can also.
I'm gonna say Thor. Thor's a movie that does that very like every other line is a joke.
Ever since Guardians of the Galaxy came out, like everyone wanted to do
Oh
the same
my
thing.
goodness.
But like, again, it kind of strikes that balance of humor. It probably get a little heavier than what it did in Winter Soldier, but it's like it wants to try to be like Winter Soldier. It isn't.
Yeah.
But I can give it an attempt to try to emulate one of the better movies of the entire MCU.
Correct. Probably the best.
It's to be honest, outside of the Avengers. movie-
Standalone film because Avengers just ties everything together, but standalone film, I think Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I think my two favorite MCU movies are probably
it,
got to be like
man.
Infinity War and Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
They're
and
gotta be
maybe
those ones.
Guardians, the first Guardians. I'm gonna say the first
I'd
Guardians.
say Civil
of
War too. Civil War was pretty damn good.
Civil War was really damn good, and I'm not gonna put Spider-Man, the last one,
No Way Home.
No Way Home, up there because it was just nostalgia hitting us with Toby and Andrew.
That's not fair. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not fair. It's like, dude, if you put Toby, you're gonna shout and you're gonna be happy. And
Dude,
you're
Willem Dafoe, man.
gonna, William Dafoe.
And Alfred. It's just
And
the
he
whole
said
movie.
the meme. You know, something of a scientist myself.
Yeah.
He said the meme. So everybody was like, okay.
Which is he
said-
killed it. Everybody was great in that movie. I don't think anybody sucked.
No, but
so-
I will say about Thaddeus Ross. I guess it's not so much him. I guess it was nice to tie the Hulk movie to the MCU finally.
I just
You know,
it
was
would have.
like-
I think it would have been better off if it was tied in with a Bruce Banner type thing. But then again, it's hard to connect the Mark Ruffalo Bruce Banner Hulk
Yeah.
with this stuff because honestly,
Wait, do you think Thaddeus Ross is the one more responsible for the Avengers or Nick Fury? Because Nick Fury technically.
Nick Fury.
Okay.
He was responsible, like they mentioned in the movie, he was responsible for breaking up the Avengers because they putting pressure with the Sokovia Accords.
Correct. I get that. I get that, but at the beginning, I mean, at the end of Hulk, it's when he meets with Robert Downey Jr. with Iron Man.
But that was like way in the beginning before they even knew what to tie it. Because that was before.
Before they knew what
That
was
was
going to happen.
that was before Disney like got it all. Because Paramount did Iron Man and then Universal did Hulk.
Right.
You know that's the reason why they're not doing another standalone Hulk movies because Universal still has a contract, kind of like
Yeah,
how
that
Sony
makes
still has
sense.
it
Yeah.
with Spider-Man.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Okay, so it is Nick Fury, but that was the first time when seeing Hulk when we saw Iron Man, Tony Stark. We were like, what? That was like the first.
Yeah, the
real-
first like crossover thing. 'Cause
Well, the
that-
first post-credit scene.
No, the first one was in Avengers, or Iron Man.
No, because technically it wasn't a post-credit scene, but it was at the end of the movie, at the end of Hulk.
Yeah,
But
no,
that-
but Iron Man came out before Hulk.
Correct.
So the first
So
one
Hulk-
was Nick Fury talking about he name dropped the Avengers Initiative.
No, I get that. But the first post-credit scenes ever Marvel really technically was Hulk with Thaddeus Ross and Tony Stark. Technically.
Didn't X-Men do that
No.
too?
For what?
The X-Men had a couple of stingers, I think.
Well, it just had Magneto kind of moving
Yeah,
the
they
piece.
moved the chest
But
piece.
that was at the end of the movie. Yeah, okay, I'll give you that. But something that moves the movie along, I mean,
Oh,
technically.
yeah. Now, what I
MCU wise.
also what I can give credit to this movie is the fact that it wasn't, aside from the boring post-credit scene, there was nothing setting up the next movie. It was focused on this movie. Because that's another gripe that I have about a lot of the Marvel movies. It's that the A plot is the main plot, and the B plot is the setup for the next movie.
Yeah.
And then so on and so forth. So I like that it's self-contained.
It is. You're
can
not.
appreciate that.
You're not looking for Easter eggs. You're not like, okay, what's in here? From what movie? From what comic book? From what reference are they making? Not so much. Like Bucky just showed up. He's like, hey, how you doing, man? Like, you okay?
That was a nice cameo.
That was
I
a
like
nice
that.
little cameo. I'm like, yeah, I mean, they're good friends. It's like, okay, it was good to just throw him in there. But it wasn't like, okay, how does this tie to the bigger picture? No, because I think in a way that's what was fucking up. That's what was screwing up the MCU. How do you tie every show, every movie to the bigger picture? And it was just hurting. It's been hurting the MCU ever since the shows came out, ever since everything came out.
Well,
And-
because what the problem is too is that it's tying together other stuff that turns out to be mid or bad,
yeah.
and you can't string people along, getting them hyped up with the next project that's going to be not good. It's like, all right, what's the next? You eventually get burned. Hence why I kind of tapped out with half the Marvel stuff lately.
The only thing we got is that the Avengers are coming back. And again, I think it's the Young Avengers. It's the only thing that makes sense.
Who's left besides?
No, it's the Young Avengers. So it's Hulk's son. What's her name? Kate Bishop. Damn it. Ironheart.
Shuri.
Yeah, Shuri. And I don't know who else is in it, but yeah, so far that's what I know for the Young Avengers. If Disney decides to go that route, those are the Young Avengers so far that I know of. Yeah, it's not the greatest thing. I mean, the Hulk's son looked horrible. That CGI was so bad, dude. I was like, hey, here's my son.
I honestly would be more interested in watching Thunderbolts with their lineup compared to
Do you think
what
MCU
described.
needs a reboot, dude? I think it does. It's just okay. It's where everything is a callback to Thanos.
Much like Star Wars,
No,
and they needed to just stop.
I just gotta make this point. Every movie so far, after Phase 4, has been a callback to Thanos, the Avengers. They always mention Iron Man's, the Avengers, Steve Rogers.
Well, they blew their
Ye-
wad. They
dude.
blew their wad on some of the biggest and best characters and villains. Whereas, like I think I mentioned on a previous podcast, it should have been setting up Doctor Doom as like not just a villain for the Fantastic Four, but for everybody.
I agree, but so are we going the Doctor Doom route? Because we already know Robert Downey Jr. is Doctor Doom. He's been cast, and is the Russo brothers coming back to direct him. I don't know if he's a big bad now, because obviously we know what happened with Kang and the whole controversy with Jonathan Majors.
I still think they should just go for broke, reuse Mads Mikkelsen. He's probably the best person I can think of who could be Doctor Doom. Maybe Bill Skarsgård, if he's willing to sign for a multi-picture deal or something like that.
Right.
Or just some other actor, because there's plenty of people. Just reuse Robert Downey. It seems kind of desperate, honestly.
Do you think that it's a problem, and it's kind of like what makes the MCU great is also what's killing it? Kind of like adamantium was killing Wolverine, that this story has to move along. Do you think that's what kills it?
I'll bring this analogy in. They're riding on the coattails of the previous success and not willing to move forward, much in the same way that the Terminator franchise is hamstrung by the fact that the studios aren't willing to push forward without Arnold.
Right.
Because the first time they did it was Salvation, and they even did that weird like CG like cameo at the end of Salvation. But they couldn't commit to that, and audiences, unfortunately, I mean, I don't like following this. I don't like dogging on audiences like studios do, but like the over reliance on Arnold really limits the ability for like better Terminator stories to be told. Because I liked Salvation, and if that could have finished up the Future War trilogy with John Connor, that should have been the route that the Terminator movies should have followed, instead of just going back to the time travel shit with, recycling like Sarah and Arnold and all that. Like it just because it became progressively worse. Whereas They could have just focused on the war and then meeting Kyle or building up Kyle Reese and
Right.
then culminating at the end with time travel. So the studio's reluctance to pave new ground and to kind of move forward is they're too risk averse, and so it's they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot like this.
100%. And they did say they were going to invest $5 billion in the next 5 years in London. So that brings me to think, okay, what type of stories do you have that are worth $5 billion, right? What is that?
They're not gonna have that kind of return on investment. They're already not, because this movie is already projected to flop
Yeah.
because people are just burned too often, and they're wasted. The Disney Plus hasn't made a return on their investment. We're kind of going all over the place here.
Yeah,
My criticisms of the movie is that they went back to low stakes. They tries too much with the Hulk stuff.
Yeah.
And that doesn't work with a regular guy like Sam without the super soldier serum. They do address it a couple of times. The second time it was actually pretty funny. It was like, yeah, he should have taken.
He should have taken it, yeah.
He should have taken the serum.
So like you were saying, yeah, like he should have taken the super soldier serum. when
Yeah,
he
so
said,
a lot of the circumstances of the movie feel really contrived because it has to work around the fact that Sam is a regular guy and he can't take the hits like Steve could. And there's, oh my god, okay, so action scenes, fun, yeah, if you really turn your brain off, because I was thinking like when Giancarlo Esposito stabbed him in the gut with the tomahawk and then the chest with the knife.
Lung should have collapsed.
Yeah, his lungs should have. That's a sucking chest wound. He should have been out, down, and out. That's not. You don't. You can survive that, but you don't walk away from that. The lab scene where the leader gets all the goons to stall
Right.
Joaquin and Sam. Why were they just using non-lethal stuff? They could have just had guys walk in with rifles and just light them up and boom, movie over.
Right.
Why? Like, I can't. You know. I guess they're trying to do the callback to the elevator scene in Winter Soldier, and then the Red Hulk fight. Yeah, I know that if they had to reshoot anything, it would have been that, because it just would not have worked with him. Even with the Wakanda tech and stuff like that, like getting bodied like the Hulk, even with that kind of suit absorbing that energy, he'd have been a dead man like 5 times into the fight, especially with the flagpole thing.
Yeah.
That would have liquefied his arms if he tried catching
Dude.
a flagpole being swung at you full force by the Red Hulk. Which, side note, the shot of him on the burning White House with the American flag
my
being
God.
that was kind of cool.
Badass.
That
Me and
was,
Kevin looked at each other like, oh shit.
yeah, that was actually kind of a cool shot. Red Hulk looked great because it did the Thanos, Mark Ruffalo Hulk sort of thing where you do see Harrison Ford's face that is like him, like all hulked out, all red hulked out.
I will say, to add on to your thing, Giancarlo Esposito, I don't know if that was just to name drop in the movie, like, hey, we have him, or
It was.
It's
He wasn't in principal photography, so I think he was part of the reshoots. I think.
part of the reshoots, probably. I'll look into that, and it just felt like his part was meaningless. You could have had any actor, you could have had anybody played that part. I felt like, okay,
The
we
movie,
know.
upon multiple watches, I
Yeah.
probably would note that I could probably tell more than what I already done on my first watch, that this movie was chopped up to hell because of the reshoots and all that stuff, because it's kind of all over the place. I mean, as much as I like the emotional like foundation for like the
Yeah.
giving vulnerability to Ross,
Yeah.
the tone was kind of all over the place with him. It kind of stuck, maybe sort of. I see what they were going with by the end, and I do appreciate where the direction was, and I just I can't discredit that, but I can tell the editing was kind of weird, especially.
Well, I will say something you mentioned. You said, "Holy crap, that's a lot of writers," right?
Yeah.
I was like,
And that's
oh,
usually
shit.
not a good sign for a movie
That's
to have like a
not a good
crap load of
sign.
writers. Yeah.
2, 3 max for a Marvel film, but like,
Like
The list
4
was like-
yeah, it was.
ugh.
Typically, if you need script doctors, they're usually uncredited, but the fact that they're all.
Exactly.
I like the banter between Joaquin and Sam. Joaquin probably just a little bit overboard with it, but he wasn't terrible. Like you said, the Indian Ocean was pretty good. A little heavy on the effects could have been a little better. But I did see the cutouts of the helicopters and the fighter jets
Yeah.
in the studio when I worked. So
Okay.
I did see that. I knew that something was coming with those fighter jets. But
I will say that you spoiled gunshots for me now after watching Heat. Because every time I every time I listen to gunshots in movies, I'm like, yeah, no, it's not doing
that
it for me.
AK sounded really bassy though. I do like the attempt to do that, but it was just like it's not Heat. It's not. The
No,
Heat.
it's just me nitpicking like, oh, it's not Heat. But I did like that Hulk scene. I'm gonna look for that picture. Pretty fucking cool. Just
that was cool.
just
looking,
him standing with the American flag.
Oh, geopolitically and the plot line that made no sense to me. That was just like I could not wrap my head around. Japan, they don't.
Japón.
It.
Well, it can't be China, dude. You know why? You know why it can't be
but if
China?
they had balls, they would've
No,
said-
you know why? Because they have to play it in China.
It doesn't make enough money in China anyway. There's been so many blockbuster flops in China that,
Yeah,
the United States
I
really just,
hear they love Marvel over there, dude. It's Disney.
do they still?
I
do
don't
they-
know.
do
We'll
they-
see.
Do they really?
Do they really? I don't know. Maybe. But here's the thing: they're not gonna put China because if they have any attempt at putting the movie out there, then they're like,
Because they
yeah.
weren't outright the bad guys. I mean, they were everybody was being played. So
Yeah.
they could play that angle, the fact that they were just trying to cut it because the president was trying to make this treaty work. Like he wasn't power grabby or anything like that. His motivation throughout the movie was straight up like he needs to have a successful presidency and
Yeah.
need to make this treaty work. And it seemed to be he didn't have any ulterior motives or anything like that. He just when the chips were down, he wanted like, all right, then it's got to default to us then. But for the most part, he wanted to go splitsies on the adamantium.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
So-
adamantium. Cool that they mentioned that finally.
They finally
Like,
bring
oh,
that in, yeah.
finally, it came from the Celestial adamantium. Cool.
Um,
That's where it come from. Wolverine's like, I've had that shit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna nitpick something. The fucking cherry blossoms, they just fucking bother me. Like, why so many? Like, I get it. We get it. It's spring. We got it. Oh, cherry blossoms everywhere. I get you get it, right? Because he used to see them with his daughter. So
No. But actually, agriculturally, it does make sense because if it's 100 days into presidency, if you got inaugurated in January, it's 3 months. That's April. Cherry blossoms would be blooming around then. So that's
They
like
just
that,
showed
that put
so
this movie
much.
in April. In April.
they just showed him so much. I was just like, okay.
That's pretty looking, I guess.
That's,
I saw
this is
that they had a
nitpicking.
lot of cherry blossoms at Trilith. The Greens Department had a shitload stashed there. China or India is the only country I could think of off the top of my head that probably could possibly could project that kind of naval power in the region to go to that celestial island. Japan has a completely defensive
Yeah.
force. They have no offensive capabilities whatsoever, nor would they have the try to. It just seems like it. Yeah, they went
Well,
with a named country. However,
felt
it's just
like
it just didn't.
It was a little bit like it had a political edge to it, like adamantium, but they were really talking about oil. There's a scene where Harrison Ford is like, if anybody's gonna have it, it's us, like America. It's like, oh,
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, okay.
It feels like we're
I want
talking
to stick
about-
with because I can go off. I can derail this whole thing with modern, current day shit that I know of and have hot takes about. But that does have ties, not necessarily with rare earth minerals.
right.
You know,
Yeah, it's like adamantium. We gotta have it.
Look further into that, I guess, with what's going on right
Yeah.
now in the news. But
We gotta have it. I guess. I don't
that
know. It just felt that a little bit like that to me. Like,
I mean, yeah, I mean, that it is realistic. I mean, everybody would be fighting for that, and I mean, I do appreciate that I can appreciate the attempt to not paint Ross as like a big thing. Now I don't know how much of that was rewritten due to the reshoots and what happened in November, because that's what I
Right.
heard that's why they shifted gears. But I think they cover their asses well enough to make it a neutral movie. Because I have a sneaking suspicion the movie would have been way different before if the movie came out before November.
there's probably gonna be a different cut of this movie that they're gonna mention. You don't think so?
No,
Like
Disney does not want to tread in the hot water if the movie went in a direction I think it went.
They don't do Snyder cuts at Disney.
No. That shit's in the vault. But I can appreciate the direction they did, the pivot they might have made if
Yeah.
they did make that pivot. But again, they could have had some. It would have been purely for me and for anybody who might know geopolitics, it would have made more sense if it was China, because they weren't necessarily bad guys. It was just literally like people. Just information warfare, people
Right.
getting played differently, and then the fact that they backed down as soon as they found out that the Falcon and Cap were disabling the rogue fighters. You know what I mean? Because neither country didn't want like. Neither country really. I don't know. The Japanese prime minister was like pretty hard headed, I guess. But
Yeah.
But for the most part, they could have handled it in a way to where China wasn't necessarily the bad guy. More so the fact that there was pawns in the big, the leader's game
Right.
to fuck with Ross's legacy. But I still couldn't suspend disbelief because I just know too much that Japan does not have the ability to project naval and air power like that in the Indian Ocean. Also, another nitpick: how the fuck did Falcon and Captain America make it from Norfolk, Virginia, to the other side of the planet in the Indian Ocean so quickly? They're not Superman. They can't
Supersonic. Apparently.
That's got to be hypersonic. That got to be that Top Gun Dark Star shit to be able to make it to make it that far that fast. Unless if they got some Stark tech to go into low orbit and then re-enter.
Not Falcon, but the Captain
Captain
America. He's got vibranium.
Another nitpick thing is I hate the nano shit. Really ruins the super suits now because it's just a shortcut for the CG people to reveal the face so they can say their stuff, their quips, and then that's just
nanotech.
that's just it's like a current trend in the Marvel movies and other stuff. That's just it's
Not a sidebar, but just wondering. 1 to 10. What do you give Captain America's suit?
his suit.
With the wings, everything.
The wings. Probably like a 6, but probably because I'm not familiar with how he looked in the comics.
I'll give it a 7.
Yeah.
I like it. I like when he has the helmet on. It looks cool when he's flying. When he's just kind of standing there, it's like, eh. When he's flying, it looks cooler.
It looks cool, but man, it's just again the hits that he takes. Even if he's got that Wakanda tech, it should have pulverized his like bones, his rib cage, all that stuff. He can't land like that. There's no shock dampening stuff. It's just
Also,
again,
making everything vibranium, I feel like that takes away from.
that's a cop out. Yeah, it's a totally cop out.
It takes a lot of Black Panther, like from those movies. They were the only ones that had it. It's like rare mineral.
They're using way too much tech to make him work as a captain, which again is a reason why I don't think he should have gotten the shield. Because I personally really liked Anthony Mackie as Falcon as he was.
Yeah.
And it's too.
I guess he kept a little bit of that persona, though, right?
I mean, he's still the same. It's just the thing is, if you make him a main character like that with Captain America and doing Captain America type threats, and him not having the super soldier serum, the writers will have to do a lot of stretching to make that work plot wise. Because again, the suspension of disbelief is one thing, but the fact of the matter is that there's already stuff that's already been established at the MCU how things work that this negates. So you can't suspend your disbelief. Because again, Iron Man fought Bruce Banner to a draw in the Hulkbuster. He had to design a whole suit in Avengers Ultron to fight him. And
he lost.
Sam with just a suit like that, he would have been just
it's the vibranium
out.
aspect of it, I guess.
And again, it's just like that. That's not enough because they've established that you need more to fight somebody like the Hulk.
We don't know how strong Red Hulk is compared to Hulk.
It's
because all the powers come from.
No, because remember, Emil Blonsky got fucked up hard in that field at that college when he just had the second dose of super soldier serum, or the first initial dose.
Yeah.
Like his bones got pulverized when he got kicked by the Hulk and the
into
Incredible
the tree.
Hulk.
Yeah.
So that should have how. Because knowing that happened to Emil Blonsky and he had some.
And he had some serum.
Serum.
Yeah.
The fact that Sam didn't, but just has a suit, is just like he had to have been fucked up like that too by the Red Hulk. So that's like they're breaking their own rules.
I don't know, man. I felt like another little nitpick for me is when he's fighting the Red Hulk and he calms him down. It should have been the daughter that calmed him down.
I was expecting Liv Tyler to show up to calm him down because that would have tied together her being able to do that to both Bruce and her dad, and they're both Hulks, and she's like the like a figure that can do that besides Natasha. But you know what I mean? Like that would have tied together the family thing. Because they could have. He could have said, like, oh, let's do the walk in the cherry blossoms. Okay. If they establish a time, like, I'll meet you later. Go ahead and meet me there after my speech today, and we'll do that. So if they establish that she's already there,
right,
she can stop him and sort of saved. I mean, it's probably Deus Ex Machina, but it makes more sense than what.
Yeah, the de-escalation was so quick and so dumb for me. He's like, think of your daughter. Okay. He was pissed. Like, he was mad. He was pissed. He was getting stabbed. He was clearly
because again,
hurt.
it doesn't always work. I mean, look what Thor tried doing on that on Sakaar and Thor 2 or Thor 3. Fuck, I forget the names of the.
And
What was the name of Thor 3?
so Ragnarok.
Ragnarok, yeah.
Yeah, Ragnarok. I get it. It's just, I feel like the de-escalation of the Hulk fight was really not well written for as many writers as they had.
Again, I think that was tacked on.
Yeah,
Because they hyped up Liv Tyler returning, and during principal photography, that the little scene that she had was like, I feel like she should have been in the movie more. Like, I don't know. I wonder how much was cut. Like, how much was restructured.
yeah. They just had a bunch of pictures of her and the phone call, and at the end, that's it.
Yeah. The clunky exposition in the news stuff was way, like, they were trying to, do a recap for the audiences, and that was just pretty clunky. It could have done a little bit better.
Yeah,
I
agree. And
a lot of exposition stuff.
A lot of exposition stuff. Yeah, I agree. Again, the funnest fight for me was the one in the Indian Ocean on
That action set piece was so cool.
That-
a little
that
heavy on
I
the
enjoyed.
CGI, but it was just like, it was different. It was nice and different. But again,
Yeah, it felt like a little mix of Top Gun with because the threat was fighter jets, not like a super villain. I like that.
yeah.
Yeah, he was.
And it was a challenge. It
He
was,
was yeah.
it was almost like Iron Man when Iron Man needed to save those people falling out of Air Force One.
Yeah.
With the suit couldn't carry all the people.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like a cool place for trying to get them all in the air out before they hit the ground.
Right.
Or in the first Iron Man when he gets intercepted by those two Raptors in Afghanistan and evades them and then rescues that one pilot
Right.
when his parachute doesn't deploy. So there's
You're cool.
the movie. Again, this is not one of those things where like the movie was total trash or anything like that, but it is. I mean, the reception it's getting is indicative
It's
of the burn.
like-
I guess people are getting burned out.
It's like C tier, dude. This is
It
like a
is
C
tier, D
C
plus maybe.
tier. Like, you
It
had some
wasn't-
fun with it.
It wasn't insultingly bad because I could tell the filmmakers were trying. There was like an effort to be made to make this work.
100%. They tried. Yeah.
I just think again the movie had problems from the beginning because of the fact that the stakes were too high for someone that has no super soldier serum like Sam
Right.
to be like that. If they really wanted to do it, they could have just amp up like like Tom Clancy style Some of All Fears thing with no Hulk, no nothing, just straight up spies and soldiers and shit like that.
Yeah.
To where it's like a very,
Burnout is the biggest way I can explain
again,
it. Yeah.
they didn't make it a multiversal threat, so I can't appreciate the fact that they pulled the stakes down, but it's like
Yeah.
it was still just too high for someone like Sam to handle.
I wonder if they just did the movie for the meme. There's
The
this
Tom Holland thing.
the Tom
with,
Holland thing.
yeah.
The panel.
I feel bad though because this movie looks like it's gonna flop, and it's just like, damn. I like Anthony Mackie. He was cool as shit on the set of Falcon Winter Soldier.
They'll make money.
What?
Let me see what it is right now. I'm gonna see today, February 18th. What the Captain America box office is.
If you're a big Marvel person, yeah, check it out. Matinee. I would say that I wouldn't put the.
Yeah.
I will say this. Last week I saw Becoming Led Zeppelin. I'll probably do a quick review of that.
Yeah, we'll do a review of that.
But I had a better time watching that than this. This didn't quite hit it. This didn't quite hit the mark like it was hoping.
Yeah. Let me see where we're at right now. They
Let's see,
are.
Box Office Mojo.
Yeah, for some reason it took me to Forbes. Where is Box Office Mojo? There it is.
They buried that Google.
Okay, so today, February 18th, the day we're recording the podcast episode, it's at $192 million worldwide. Domestically, 100 million, 92 million international. So it's tied internationally.
So it's 192.
February 18th, the day we watched it, 192 million.
192.
But this is what concerns me. It's the same domestically, U.S., as it is worldwide.
Internationally.
It's usually more internationally because we're talking the world.
again,
than domestically. Literally, America, Captain America, whatever. People here love Marvel. America tied is actually ahead of internationally. I feel like they're fatigued all over the world. Maybe you think?
yeah, I think so. I think so, but also, again, it might be a flop because we don't know how bloated the budget is, and again, that's a problem that Disney's has that they rely on too many reshoots and test screenings and all that stuff, and there's so much bloat in the budget, especially from like, you know, with the amount of reshoots this movie has reported to have had, it's probably still going to lose a lot of money because you have to measure it against the box office budget on top of promotional, the marketing, and then probably the cut that the theaters have to take. Though I guess Disney has a notorious for their really tough contracts in movie theaters requiring them to fork over more.
4 weeks, guys. They have to
Yeah.
have it for 4 weeks. So again, big city theater, cool, whatever.
Smaller towns,
Small Midwestern
there's-
little town, that's gonna make them suffer a lot. And they have their next Marvel movie is the Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts,
Yeah, in May. So we'll see how that does. But
That one I think might look a little. From what I understand, that movie didn't have much. Like I haven't heard much rumors about bad test screenings and reshoots and stuff. So that might actually be fairly solid. Probably just like a cut, just like a little bit better than this. Fantastic Four, if they're trying to set a whole new thing up with Doctor Doom and all that stuff, fantastic. We were talking about this earlier. Fantastic Four has to do good, as much for Marvel as like DC needs Superman to do well.
Yes.
If either of those flop, it's
100%.
yeah,
man.
it's gonna be rough.
Their Marvel Studios is riding on this to do good, and like,
supposed to get Born Again in between.
yeah,
Born Again comes out on Disney Plus in March.
yeah.
They
But-
better not screw that up. I'd be really pissed because I love the Netflix Marvel,
Yeah.
the Netflix Daredevil
Yeah.
show. That was so good. So
Yeah, they just wanted to tie him to it, but yes, I'm gonna say I think my most anticipated Marvel film this year. It was not this. It's not Thunderbolts. It's gonna be Fantastic Four for me. Feels like a fresh new start, man. I know it's a different universe. I get that. I understand that. It just feels fresh. I like it. It's just kind of like how the DC is rebooting. I wouldn't mind a reboot, dude. Hey,
they should.
if
Younger cast.
Fantastic Four
they're-
does well, then
they're-
just go with their universe.
They already established like the multiverse thing. So if they're really ballsy, I mean, they can do period pieces and like set pieces stuff. Do like a Punisher movie.
Yeah.
With his original origins in Vietnam and then '70s with doing like a whole Death Wish style thing in New
Yeah,
York
I'm
City in the
cool with that.
'70s or something. Or
Most of these superheroes, the comics were based in the 70s anyways. Why not fucking just go along with it?
do a retro Spider-Man, like an original OG
Yes,
60s Spider-Man would be kind of
yes.
neat.
We're already getting the Fantastic Four, you know, which, yeah.
They could just go ham, just do Elseworld style stuff with Marvel.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if I mentioned in a previous podcast, but like I would love, and again they're so risk averse, I won't even bother, but make a Band of Brothers Saving Private Ryan style, proper World War II Academy Award winning level Captain America movie.
Yeah.
Like much in the same vein that Winter Soldier was more of a spy movie than it's that happens to be with Captain America and
Yeah.
superheroes and shit. A Captain America World War II movie. It's just a really, just like, well done World War II movie that just so happens to be about Captain
Right.
America. And it would be a love letter to just like a pretty much a salute to the
Correct.
you know, the greatest generation and that kind of thing. You know, just Band of Brothers, just throw in a Captain America type thing.
I will say,
like, that's what I would like to see.
I do like Anthony Mackie, and anything bad we have to say about the movie is not on him. It's writers, direction. It's like after what happened with Jonathan Majors, I feel like Marvel is scrambling and pivoting to see what they can bring out, because there are contracts, there are things that were promised. Some things got scrapped, as we know. But I feel like they threw a Hail Mary with this one in a bit. Like, okay, let's just see what we can pull out.
Threw it wide.
Yeah,
Uh,
threw it far. But I will say that I did not like the after credit scene. Oh,
It
there's
was-
other universes. We fucking know.
We
Like,
know.
We
I mean,
know.
I guess he didn't know, because I think he's been out of the loop with the multiversal stuff with because I don't think he's interacted much with Doctor Strange
Or
anything-
Spider-Man.
or Spider-Man. Yeah, so he wasn't
Oh,
kind of
interesting.
so it might just be bringing it into the government. Thing with
Okay,
the
I guess
multiverse.
it's
so
like
that might brings it to
Bringing him up to speed.
I suppose, but it's just like it's just.
But what
it's
do you
not-
mean? What do you think he meant when he said, "Wait till you have to fight the others"? Who the fuck are
The
the
other
others?
worlds?
Yeah, the other.
I think
worlds.
he's probably setting up the Secret Wars.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, eventually.
Any thoughts on the final after credit scene? Any final thoughts?
I had
or
the same
no?
thoughts as you. It's just,
Okay.
It was just nothing new.
Nothing
they
new.
didn't. They should have. That could have been a mid-credits thing.
Yeah.
We didn't need to stick around at the end of the theater for that.
Right. And what's her name? Though she was miscast.
So apparently her name in the comics is Sabra, and apparently a lot of the reshoots had to do with her because of what world events that had happened. But even then, very much miscast because she was tiny. I could not. Was she a super soldier? Because how the.
She's a widow.
Come on, Natasha. I mean, because like.
No, she's a widow. That's
I
what
know,
they
yeah,
said.
I know that. But Natasha wasn't doing that. Natasha wasn't doing. She was way bigger than this chick.
I know.
So it's like, was she super soldier? I don't. What?
Yeah, some of the fight scenes felt very like staged, like very wonky. Like
Oh, who was great in the movie? That I wish they used more. And if he was wasted, he was wasted. But if not, but just like whatever, like Carl Lumbly, for Isaiah,
oh yeah,
he was good.
I love Isaiah, dude.
He was good. He was great because his emotional stuff when he breaks.
I would have
down
added
about
him to the fight, dude. Have the original Captain America get in there and fucking.
Yeah, but
fight.
like for him, what kind of a double you're gonna use for him? You know what I mean? Like you have to be really clever with shooting him over. But however, his like
It's doable, dude.
him like throwing people around and like fucking people up in the White House while he was escaped. That was cool.
That's what I'm saying.
And
Throw
the way he
throw
was
him in
throwing like the
fight.
heavy bag in the gym, like that was like like he's
Yeah, the White House scene, the way he jumped out of the White House, I was like, yeah, dude, if you could do fucking Taken with Liam Neeson at his age, then you could do doubles for Isaiah.
No, but it just in terms of his like emotional scenes with him, like when he shows vulnerability with Sam about being incarcerated again and not trusting the government and whatnot, like he was good. Nothing but positive stuff about him with
Yeah.
Isaiah. He was great. Yeah, Sabra miscast, just too tiny. It's just like didn't.
Characters that don't really add to the story. At first, it felt like she was important or she was tied to the bad guy.
They're setting her up, and I think a lot of her stuff was cut out of the
Yeah.
reshoots. Because again, if you know about the character of Sabra, she's pretty much like an Israeli Captain America, and
So it was just-
for obvious reasons they
Yeah.
had to cut that out. Which I guess,
Copy.
well, one she was miscast anyway, but for her, I mean, she was probably that poor girl. She probably signed on in the movie thinking it was a big thing, and then the crap happened over there a couple,
Yeah.
and the October 7th stuff happened, and I was just like that blew. All the fallout from that happened, and so Disney had to cut a lot of the stuff out. So,
Yeah.
but still, honestly, her character could have been just cut out entirely and would.
Yeah, it would have moved forward. Honestly, it's C tier. Like I said,
Yeah.
it's a fun time. I wouldn't spend.
I get, if
I
you're-
wouldn't
if,
go
if
to
you're a Marvel
IMAX.
Fan, if you're a Marvel fan, yeah, you have a decent time.
I wouldn't go to IMAX.
Yeah, I wouldn't pay money. Like I said, see if you got to see it in the theater, see it on like a discount day, matinee. Save it. Don't pay full price.
Oh God, the mouse is gonna come after us now.
Like I said, I paid full price to see the Led Zeppelin documentary in IMAX before this one took over all the IMAX screens.
Yeah.
That Led Zeppelin documentary I had a better time watching that than
Yeah.
this. However, I'm saying that as a big Led Zeppelin fan, but
Yeah.
my girlfriend saw it with me. She had a great time with it too. So
Yeah. I mean, we'll
I'll,
probably.
I'll talk more about that one later.
Yeah, we'll review that movie for sure. And yeah, I mean, it was okay time. It was a fun time. I enjoyed.
It wasn't-
something-
It wasn't insultingly bad.
Yeah.
And it didn't really it wasn't obviously like he knew that they were trying to work. It was just like a mess of a movie that was just like. I mean, they did what they could, I guess.
Yep.
Only time will tell to see what problems the movie actually had, because a lot of his rumors, problems, and there's only so much that I saw.
I guess we have a little bit of superhero fatigue as
It
a
is, yeah. It's just-
whole nation, as the world.
Yeah.
It's like superhero fatigue a little bit, and it is what it is. Another Marvel film. Marvel, it's riding on the coattails of the original,
Yeah, its
the
predecessors,
first, the first four phases. That's what it is. It's
First three.
first three. Sorry, no.
No, four. I mean, four in the fact that
I thought four
the
was Endgame.
Spider-Man. And, no, three was.
Oh.
Endgame was the end of three.
My bad. Three.
Four would have been. The highlights of four would have been Spider-Man. No
Dude.
Way Home. No, Far From Home and No Way Home.
Just give me Shang-Chi 2 and I'll be happy.
I like
Shang-Chi
was pretty forgettable. For
I
me,
like it.
personally.
I liked it personally, but that's just me. But
Um,
but I will say compared to like the last movies that came out, like the Marvels, very forgettable. And what was the other one that just came out?
Just came out.
Oh, not just came out like last year. We're talking about it. It was the Marvels and
Guardians 3.
Guardians 3 was great. I liked it. It
I haven't
tied.
seen it.
You haven't seen it?
Yeah, I
Okay.
should, but
Yeah. It just ties their story. Has nothing
Which
to
again-
do with.
and which again, one could appreciate the fact that it's more or less self-contained stories because Marvel has probably stretched themselves too thin trying to tie everything to each
Yeah.
other, and it's just like, these are standalone movies for a reason. They just
And
gotta-
Sony, stop doing Marvel movies. Okay, Sony, listen to me.
they're stopping after Craven, after Craven just Madam Web, they're giving that up, which
Sony,
anybody could have told them that because why the fuck would you make a Venom movie without Spider-Man?
Sony, stop. Oh yeah, Madam Web is the one we're talking about. It's Sony, but holy crap, that was bad. Sony,
And
just
then Blade, we're never gonna see Blade.
no, we're never gonna see Blade.
We're never gonna see Blade.
But I
Good,
feel
'cause-
like we got to see Wesley Snipes redeem himself in Deadpool.
I never needed redeeming. We just got to see him again. He's fun to watch.
And please never tie Deadpool to the MCU.
they gotta.
He's great as he is, and I like that they tied him to the Fox, like
That-
the
yeah,
X-Men.
Deadpool-
The X-Men.
Yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine was more so the pre
Yeah.
MCU superhero movies, mostly like the Fox stuff, like
Yeah.
Elektra, Fan Four Stick, the other Fantastic Four movies.
Yeah.
Blade, X-Men, all that stuff.
100%.
Those are solid movies. And
Yeah,
you go
man.
back and watch them, they weren't bad. It's just
Yeah.
they don't reach the heights of the Avengers stuff. But that's phases 1, 2, 3. That's like lightning in a bottle. And I don't think anybody's going to recreate that kind of momentum and build up and then staking the land.
People have been trying to, especially DC, have been trying to capture that magic. It's just, it was like one of those events that happens so rarely, and we were lucky
not gonna
enough
see
to
that
live
again.
through it. Yeah, not
Just
for a
the
long
industry. The industry has been so atrophied between the pandemic and the strikes, and then with streaming and technology coming out and just like so much stuff. I don't think it's gonna reach those kind of heights
time. Oh yeah,
again.
and Marvel, I hope you enjoy your rainy days in London. Marvel. All right, not here in dry
Yeah,
Georgia.
that is. I mean, no, it's a rainforest here, but like, yeah, we get plenty of sun at the same time.
We got plenty of sunny days, so yeah,
Sunny days,
enjoy your rainy days in London, Marvel. Thanks for leaving us. Roll credits.
I didn't, dude. I didn't consider that. Yeah, you got a good point. Jesus.
It's all studio stuff, but the fact that it's just me ranting again that they left us. They were a big employer, and it is what it is, man. It's the film industry. It goes from state to state. It comes back. It goes away. It's just how it is. It's a rough industry that we work in, but
It's feast or famine. They didn't. When I chose this profession, when fresh out of school and stuff like. There's a lot of stuff I wish I knew that probably would have talked me out of it. But it's like feast or famine is like a thing I hear all the time.
yeah.
And yeah, with the 1-2 punch of the strikes and the pandemic, it's like that.
Yeah.
That's,
And
that's
if-
more true now than ever.
If they did use the Tyler Perry Studios for the White House scene, then
yeah, that's what I suspect.
I'm
they
pretty
used-
sure.
they
And
used
so
it
yeah,
for the White
pretty
House.
cool. Like I'm glad they got some use out of it because I know the other notable movie is Zombieland 2
Oh yeah.
or
that's right.
Zombieland, the first one,
No, the second one.
the second one, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
The second
yeah.
one opens up with them posting up the White House.
That's what I thought. Oh yeah, the first one
I
is
stayed in on it, so I should know.
Yeah, that's right.
I did my scenes. None
I
of my stuff
interviewed
was on there.
I interviewed you about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
but-
I wasn't there for those scenes. My
but-
character wasn't in there.
But yeah, well, you guys decide on your own if you like it or not. This is just our thoughts, and as always, opinions. Well, thank you for watching. Thank you guys for please subscribe if you guys want us to make more content, and we're gonna really try to put.
We got a
one
momentum
every
going
week.
on, so I'm happy. Hopefully, we can keep this up. 'cause
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is like, it's be good.
Yeah, last one came out about Collateral. It was my first time watching it, his 100th. But listen to that, and yeah, we're gonna talk old movies, new movies, just movies in general. So
Oscar movies. I mean, there's a lot to catch up on for me.
Yeah.
I'll try to.
yeah, but yeah, thank you guys for watching. As always, this is Jorge and Kevin, and thank you guys for tuning in, and see you guys next time.
Take it easy. All right, so I just got off of work the day after we saw Captain America, and while I was working, I was thinking about more about the movie, and we were mentioning about like plot contrivances and stuff, and I think I might have mentioned that with giving a little bit more thought, I could have picked apart the plot more. Well, I did give it more thought, and there's a couple of things that I noticed that the movie. So obviously, when they're in that lab. They have all those henchmen guys under mind control to try to stall Joaquin and Sam. None of them had guns. Could have shot them. That's one thing I mentioned. But thinking about it, it's like, if he was supposed to stage an assassination on the president and try to sabotage the whole deal and kind of like compromise the White House security and get the other nation second guessing the treaty to go splitsies on the adamantium on the Celestial Island, why do that to Isaiah and get him involved? Because he wouldn't have done anything to stop the plan. He's out of the picture. So getting him involved in the situation, doing the hypnosis thing on him, and if the idea wasn't necessarily just to kill Ross, but just to kind of to ruin his legacy, then why did the leader, surely in his calculations, he would have calculated that getting Isaiah involved would have got Sam more involved and thus risked his plan. So why do that? And if it's based on DNA and stuff like that, that's on file. If you tell our members, well, Joaquin and they could have had Joaquin's stuff on file, but for sure they would have had Sam's because would have gone through the VA. He was a veteran. He's already served in Afghanistan and stuff. They could have had something on file, and it could have hypnotized him, framed Sam, get him out of the picture, and then the whole thing could go tips up it's just like, why go after Isaiah, not just hypnotize and do the mind control on Sam? It's a huge plot hole I just came up with, or I just realized. Not only that, as a story, again, if you're trying to do a rehash or try to retread the same ground with the whole Bucky and Sam dynamic, that could have been a thing to where Sam is under the mind control, not Bucky. And then that could have created like a cool thing where it's kind of a role reversal where Bucky has to, step up, even still running for Congress, and like be the guy that Sam was for him, but for Sam, or be the guy that Steve was for Bucky, but do the same thing for Sam to prove his innocence and clean up his image on the public stage. And I don't know, make the plot story idea could have been like an alternate idea could have been an idea where they both share the shield and both of them are stepping up, or I don't know, I'm just like kind of spitballing ideas here. Or rather than tie in too much with the Incredible Hulk stuff with the non-super powered guy and deal with that sort of plot sort of roadblock or barriers or obstacles, they could have pulled the story back even further and deep dived into Sam's story, make it more about him and probably his background when he first got the wings in Afghanistan and lost his wingman in Afghanistan and during his service there, or tie it in with stuff with veteran stuff to kind of ground it even further. I don't know, make it topical about the veteran stuff. I don't know. There's just, that's like another story elements that I just thought of. Like, wait a minute, why did the leader just not do that to frame Sam or get him out of the picture? Why just involve Isaiah though? Because that's like, that would have gotten Sam involved, raise the stakes, and further like risk having his plan being ruined. Just like,
Or hell, I mean, if he's already got the Ross's DNA and file, just cut the middleman and just have him try to fuck up the world leaders and stuff and cause a huge international incident. That could have been a more of a unrecoverable sort of fiasco that could have ruined Ross. You know, even if Sam and all that stuff, their guys would have like discovered the plan after the fact, this still doesn't change the fact that his shit is ruined. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I think there's a problem with a lot of bigger budget stories and stuff. They don't have people not necessarily nitpick the stories, but just really think through and like come up with ways like workarounds and stuff. Because the Russos and whoever wrote the Civil War or Winter Soldier didn't have that problem. Those were pretty tight scripts and stories where there wasn't a whole lot of there wasn't a whole lot of stuff going on with plot holes and stuff. Like, it was pretty tight and well written stories. So yeah, that's just a thing that I came up with. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, with even more thought and even more viewings, I mean, I could pick apart the movie even more. Upon first viewing, yeah, it was okay, but then it's just one of those ones where it doesn't benefit with repeat viewings. I don't think, because it's just the flaws start to become very obvious. So, if you're a big Marvel guy, yeah, see it in a matinee. I don't think you should probably pay full price for the ticket. It's just worth a matinee viewing on a premium format, maybe. Otherwise, wait for Disney Plus, or just wait. You can set it out. It's not. It's a bummer, you know. I like Anthony Mackie. You know, I wish I would have liked for this movie to have been way better than it was. For his sake, just because it's, you know, he put in the work. You know, he's been there since phase 2. So, all right, well, that's it. That's just my additional random thought that I needed to kind of get out there while it was still fresh in my head.